This is F.D. Recovery, where we interview addicts and alcoholics.
Our aim is that through this podcast, we might help you on your journey of recovery.
Thank you for listening.
Well, this is Frank with F.D. Recovery. I am very sorry about the late post on this. Been a crazy week. I had to do a bunch of stuff at work, and I feel like crap today. So I've been nauseous all day and just trying to fight that. Had to go home early, so I'm trying to get this recorded because I know the importance of sticking to what I set out to do, right? So this is the weekly intention. For those of you that do not know what that is, we choose a topic or spiritual principle, and we work it in our life, in our recovery, right? Last week was praise, and this week is going to be learning from our mistakes, right? But before we dive into that, we'll talk about praise. How did I use it this week? You know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I really sucked at it this week. I was really needy, really under, not enough sleep, all the above, right? Life shows up on life's terms, and sometimes you got to use the tools from the bargaining spot that you're at. Meaning, if I'm in a bad way, praise helped me out, and it helped me out where it could, right? So I did the best I could. But as far as I use praise, I just took some time and to just do a lot of thanking to my higher power, being thankful. I know it sounds like gratitude, but shooting that up to my higher power and just praising, all the work that my higher power has put in my life, right? All the good stuff, right? All the work that I put in, and all the good stuff that my higher power put into my life, right? And just praising it for that, man. Just doing a lot of that. Sorry guys, I'm a little off. I took a nap earlier, and I feel a little bit better, but it seems like I need to go back to sleep. But praise is a very important part, right? We talked about it last week about how, treating God like a vending machine, and so this week I was trying to shift that into a more positive spin and do a little bit more appreciation and praising for my higher power's work in my life. And it wasn't perfect, right? Challenges arise, and that's just life, right? Life on life's term, guys. So we'll switch from praise. It's gonna be a short podcast. I know they're getting shorter and shorter every week. Summers are usually really busy, right? So learning from our mistakes, right? Let's see what old Google has to say about this. To truly learn from a mistake, you must own the error, identify exactly what went wrong, and implement a concrete plan to prevent it from happening again. Mistakes should be viewed as opportunities to build resilience, humility, and character, rather than the reason for self-punishment. Oh, that self-punishment part, right? Yeah, my whole life's been self-punishment, right? So that really speaks to me, right? So this goes on. It says 3-step framework for learning from mistakes. 1, acknowledging and owning it. That's so important, right? That's in our first step, right? Acknowledging it and owning it. Take full responsibility. Apologize if the mistakes impacted others. And my mistakes usually always impact others, most of them. Apologize if impacted others, and separate yourself from the error. Admitting fault is a mark of maturity and integrity, not weakness. You're not weak if you admit it, guys. Like, even though your ego might feel a little bit threatened by just admitting that you might have had it wrong, right? You can I can't stress enough on how important it is to just let your ego reside in the background and just let these spiritual principles come in and do their work, right? So, second is analyze the cause, maintain an objective curiosity. Ask yourself what your intention was. Ooh, what's your intention? What specifically went wrong, and what factors, fatigue, things like fatigue, miscommunication, lack of planning, those are all factors. What factors made it happen? What caused the error? And thirdly, make an action plan. Document exactly what you will do differently next time. Establish habits, routines, and checklists to ensure the same misstep isn't repeated. Cultivating growth mindset. People often fixate on their failures. Guys, failures is so important. It's such a springboard to everything that you want in life. When you fall, it's the most important, right? And you learn so much. And that's what a mistake is. It's a fall. Some are big, some are small. But, people that often fixate on their failures, which can be demoralizing, paralyzing, instead of dwelling in shame, practice self-compassion. But comparison's also important too, right? We don't want to get lost in the whole comparison, contrasting world. But that's another topic. So self-compassion, by recognizing that mistakes are a normal necessary and a part of a human experience, right? Balance your perspective by focusing on your successes and building upon what you are doing. See things where they're at, right? Consider how you talk to yourself. Self-talk plays a massive role in future performance. I can't stress enough about that, right? We've had that self-talk in the past, right? As a spiritual principle, working that our spiritual topic. But mistakes are so important to this whole walk of spirituality. It goes back to the ancient teachings and almost every biblical text, and just getting back down to like judge not, because you're only judging yourself. Like, thee who is without sin, throw the first stone. Right. And when you look at life like that, is understand that we all have failures. We all make mistakes. We all screw up. We all sin, for lack of better word, sin. Right. But we all fall short. We all miss the mark, and it's super important that in recovery, that we get to this pivot point to where we can start doing a little bit more introspective dives within ourselves and start this necessary healing. Because a lot of people, and by people I mean me, because that's all we're really ever talking to, about is third person. When we start judging other people, it's only a reflection of what our innards think about anything in this life, right? Although you might be accurate on your assumption, that reality lives in you too, right? And for me, it's getting past the judgment and getting to the point of recognizing mistakes are a crucial part of the process. And until you can fully embody your mistakes and own them and love them and forgive them and get to a point where you could actually learn from them, you're going to cause yourself a lot of strife and a lot of challenge. Because one thing that I realize in recovery, and nobody has a monopoly on this shit, right? You're forever learning and you're forever growing. I promise you that. So for me, it's like getting back to the ground zero of it, going, okay, here's my life. I've destroyed it. Now, where do I go from here? And it doesn't mean necessarily off of a run or, or an actual event. It can be your small ground zeros. It can be your end of a relationship. It can be the end of a friendship. It can be the end of going to a certain meeting, right? Things meet their ends, right? Things meet their ends, and just these small events, they matter. So if you can analyze what went wrong in any scenario, you have a better footing for the future step, if that makes sense. I'm sorry if I'm a little all over the place, but for me, it's mistakes. A lot of people look at failure and mistakes as if it's the deciding factor of the shame they hold. And that's just, and I know that personally. And getting to that point where putting down the shame and understanding that those are just lessons my soul was trying to learn on this beautiful journey we call life. And especially for us addicts, this beautiful journey we call recovery. So getting back to that nitty gritty of like, step in the you know what I mean? In the yuck. And what you'll find in there is a little bit more than you initially thought, right? You thought all those things always made you bad. And in step 4, when you start getting down to the nitty gritty and you do step 5 and you confess it to another human being, get down to that, the principal healing part of it is getting down to the bottom of your mistakes. And then eventually you make amends in step 9. So I hope that made sense, guys. I'm a little foggy. I think I came down with the sickness. My little one was throwing up last night, so I might have caught what she had. So forgive me if this podcast is short. Just know that I love you guys, and when I feel a little bit better, I'll make sure they're a little bit longer. Again, if you haven't heard these words today and you're hearing it for the first time, just know I love you. And if you haven't heard them today, I really do. I hope you have a good day, a blessed week. I know it's Friday, this is dropping, and it's way late, but I wanted to stay consistent, right? Work the spiritual principle of consistency and be true to my recovery, even though I feel like dog shit. So I love you guys. This is Frank with F.D. Recovery, and we out.
Thank you for tuning in to F.D. Recovery. A reminder, be kind to yourself on this journey of recovery. Also, call your sponsor, get connected to local support groups, and for one day at a time, stay clean and sober.